Hi friends, as you can tell from the thumbnail in this video, I'm going to be discussing my fall TBR, and I have this giant stack of books to talk about and more on top of that. So let's just get into it. As far as physical books that I own that I really want to read this fall, I have Night Shift by Stephen King. This is a collection of short stories. Some of them I've never heard of. There are a couple that I have heard of. There is Children of the Corn in here. Jerusalem's Lot or Salem's Lot is also in here. So it is a very thick book, but I am excited to get into this because I think that this will just like set the vibes for spooky season, and I am looking forward to that. Next, I want to read Good Omens. I've seen pieces of the show and I really did enjoy it. This book is about an angel and a demon that are trying to prevent the rapture, and so they are working together in order to do that, and they don't always get along. Next is Red Rising. I actually suggested that my husband read this before I did because I've seen so many good things on YouTube, and now he is in book 4. I think he finished book 3 and now he needs to read book 4, and he said that this book is like Hunger Games, and I love the Hunger Games, so I am looking forward to picking this one up. I know it is about like a class system and living on Mars in space. I think it might take me a minute to get into the book because sci-fi is not always my go-to genre, but I think I will like it when I do read it. Next is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I feel like I'm really late to the party on this one because this was a booktube favorite years ago when it first came out. I have the whole series, but I definitely want to read Sight. This book is about a perfect future society where death does not exist, and so there are these, I think they're people, these people that are hired as sights, and they have to go around and take lives from other people. And I think that this is going to be such a good narrative on morality and mortality. So I am looking forward to picking this up. It just seems like the perfect spooky season since it does have to deal with death. Next is Phantasma. I got this recently in a book exchange, and it just is like peak spooky vibes, but also fantasy. It seems very much like the grown-up version of Caraval, and I hope that I'm right because I actually did like Caraval. Didn't like the second book in that series, but I really did like Caraval. So I'm hoping that this is beautifully written and has high stakes and just has that whimsy to it. I don't know, we'll see. Speaking of Hunger Games, I also want to read Sunrise on the Reaping. This is the story of Haymitch when he goes into the Hunger Games as a teenager, and I have not picked it up yet. It came out earlier this year. I think in March was when it was released, and I just have not gotten to it. I actually kind of want to reread all of the series, but we will see how much time I actually have to pick all 4 of the books up. This is another book that I got in a book exchange, but this is called The Possession, and this is very like haunted house vibes. One of the main characters works as like a paranormal investigator almost. He is the host to the Anomaly Files and makes it his life's work to pull the veil back on America's most tantalizing myths and legends. And so he ends up in this sleepy little town where his daughter goes missing and his ex-wife shows up trying to figure out what the heck is going on as well. This just sounds like a very interesting, spooky read, and I've never read anything by this author, so hopefully it is good. But I really like the cover that it's an upside down living room. Like, it's just kind of cool. But yes, I definitely want to pick this up this season before Halloween. And then the last physical book on my TBR that I want to pick up is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, one of my favorite authors. I was kind of putting this off until fall because it's just like peak fall vibes. This is her toxic lesbian vampire story, as she summed it up perfectly, and I am looking forward to diving into this. All right, a couple other books that are on my TBR is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is her newest book. She is the author of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I really enjoyed those books. I am currently reading The Night and the Moth, and this book is about a woman named Sybil, and as a young girl she was a foundling child, and she is taken into the custody of the abbess. With the abbess she is taught how to divine. The synopsis says that later in the story her divining sisters are going to be disappearing and she is requiring the help of a knight, and that's where the title comes from. So far it is very atmospheric and I am loving the descriptions. It just kind of throws you into the world and it is very unique. I will say that. I really want to finish The Witching Hour. I am a little less than halfway through, but I started that in 2023. I still can kind of remember what's going on. I don't think I'm going to start this book over. I think I'm just going to finish it. This book is about the lives of the Mayfair witches and their life in Louisiana. I really can't give you much more detail than that because there are so many layers. It's like there was 9 hours of the audiobook just about the history of the witches, so it is very detailed. Feels like you're reading a history book. Speaking of witches, the next book that I want to read is Shadow of Night, which is the second book in the All Souls trilogy, or the second book to A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I enjoyed A Discovery of Witches. I had a friend describe it as, it feels like your great aunt is telling a story and you want to be polite and listen, but it's taking forever. And I think that is the perfect description of how I also felt about The Discovery of Witches, because it just kept like, get to the point kind of thing. I hope that the action kind of picks up a little bit in Shadow of Night, but I did enjoy the vampire and witch aspect in Discovery of Witches, so I will continue the series. And then there are 3 other series that I want to make progress in this fall. The first one is Skyshade, which is the 3rd book in the Lightlark series. I started this book on a whim and I really enjoyed it. I love the magic system. The second book kind of fell flat for me because there wasn't as much world building, and I'm just hoping that we get back to that in the 3rd book, but we'll see. And then Alex Astor actually just announced that she published a 4th book for this series called Crown Tide, so we will see if I will be picking that one up as well. In this series, you follow Isla, and she is navigating how to rule her own realm and then get along with all of the other rulers and develop her magic. There's a lot that happens between book 1 and book 2, so I don't want to spoil too much, but I think it is worth the read if you enjoy elemental magic and fantasy. It does read a little young, but if you're okay with that, then this book is for you. The next book on my list is Leather and Lark. Leather and Lark is the second book to Butcher and Blackbird. I thought Butcher and Blackbird was okay. I think I just didn't really like Blackbird as a character. I want to give this series another try, but if I don't like this one, I'm not going to continue the series. And the next book that I want to read is What Feasts at Night. This is part of the Sworn Soldier series by T. Kingfisher. The first book is What Moves the Dead. What Moves the Dead was so uniquely atmospheric. It felt like The Last of Us, with the descriptions of mushrooms and how everything is connected, and it was just so creepy. It was a little love letter to Edgar Allan Poe as well. What Feasts at Night follows the same main character from What Moves the Dead, but he is on a different spooky adventure. And this leads me to the next section of this video, is new releases. T. Kingfisher has the 3rd installment of the Sworn Soldiers series coming out, and it is going to be released on September 30th, and it's called What Stalks the Dead. This book also follows Alex Easton from the first book, and it is just going to be another spooky installment. I really enjoy T. Kingfisher's writing. I think that there is something so poetic about her writing, especially when she writes these shorter novels, because her longer novels, they get kind of cutesy. It's not a bad thing. Like, it's a cozy horror. I don't know how else to explain her writing. She just writes these cozy horror books, but first book, the What Moves the Dead, was not cozy. It was very eerie, and I like that. Other books that I want to read this fall that are new releases in no particular order are Remain by Nicholas Sparks and M. Night Shyamalan. The guy that wrote A Walk to Remember and Dear John meets the guy that directed Split and Signs. Like, I don't know what to expect from this book. It is supposed to be a thriller, and I have not read the synopsis because I want to go into it blind. But I just thought that was such a weird mashup that how could you not want to pick that up? Remain comes out on October 14th. Next is We Love You Bunny by Mona Awad. This is the second book to Bunny by Mona Awad, and I think that so many people just loved Bunny, myself included. I wasn't like a diehard fan or anything like that, but I really did enjoy it. I liked the fever dream aspect, the magical realism aspect of it as well. It's just such a weird book, and I have a feeling that this book will be very similar. We Love You Bunny comes out on September 23rd. The next book on my list is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This book comes out on September 9th. I just fell in love with the cover, and I think that it is going to be so interesting. I read Cackle by Rachel Harrison. It was weird, in a good way. I enjoyed it. It was odd. I didn't like the ending. The ending just kind of fell flat for me. But I think that this book is going to be so good because it is about a woman that inherits a haunted house. And so she has to return to her childhood home and confront the demons that are haunting her house, but also confront her childhood. It just sounds right up my alley and perfect for spooky season. Coming out on September 16th, we have Poems and Prayers by Matthew McConaughey. My husband and I listened to Green Lights on a trip one time. That audiobook was so soothing, but I think that if I'm going to read this, I would also like to listen to the audiobook by him. But it is his poems and prayers that he's sharing with the world, and I think there's something special about it. Coming out on October 14th is Gone Before Goodbye by Harlan Coben and Reese Witherspoon. I didn't know she wrote a fiction novel. This woman is constantly reading because of her book club and constantly picking such unique books that I think she can definitely write one with the help of somebody else. This is supposed to be a thriller, and that is all I know about it because I want to go into this book blind, but Reese Witherspoon is writing a thriller, and it's coming out on October 14th. On October 21st, we have Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake coming out. She is the author of the Atlas Six, and I was intrigued by this cover. There is a fork with a little speckle of blood. It just intrigued me. Girl Dinner is about a sorority called The House, and it just sounds like cults. And I am super into cults. I watch a lot of documentaries about them, and I find them fascinating, and I really have not read much fiction about them. So I need to get on that little train, but maybe I'll start with this one. Next, we have The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. This book comes out on October 28th. This is about a man that travels back in time to make sure a woman fulfills her duty, and he starts to fall in love with her. I really enjoy Alex E. Harrow's writing. I have read Once and Future Witches by her, and I really enjoyed it. A little lengthy, but I did really like the story and how she pulled everything together, especially from the different points of view. I think she did a really good job with that. I'm kind of hoping this is dual point of view, and I'm curious to see how it turns out. The last book that I'm looking forward to reading this fall is Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldree. He is the author of Legends and Lattes, and this is the third book in that series, and it comes out November 11th. I love this cozy fantasy series, and I will keep reading it as long as he keeps publishing it. But that does it for my fall TBR. Let me know in the comments down below if any of these interest you, if you have picked up any of these that are on my physical TBR, or if you have a different suggestion for me altogether. I am looking forward to hearing what y'all have to say, and I will see you soon in a new video. Happy reading. Is Farah. Never read a book by this author. Actually, I think, never mind, I think she wrote Cackle. Coming on, and Wreath with a sinister sorority called The House. Ooh, this is the cult one. Okay, now I remember. Editing, Abby, you have a lot of work to do. Sorry, girlfriend. Brigands and Brigands? Brigands? That doesn't sound right. I've already started reading it and I went into it blind and it's just not making a lot of sense. The reading is Brigands. Oh my god. Actually, hey,